Today may be the day when we fully charge the battery for the first time for 3.5, 4 weeks. No, it's actually longer, for a long time. We are at 93% state of charge, which is not correct because I tempered around with the settings in the smart shunt. So this might be too high or too low. I don't know, I can't remember. It's too long ago. Well, anyway guys, welcome back to another video here in the Off-Grid Garage. Sunny Australia. Why does this make an interesting video? Well, because we still have the active balancer connected to the battery. And when I connected it the first time, the battery was empty. And I did a few discharge tests to really down 2.6, 2.7 volts and monitored the situation with the cells and the balancing. And the balancer did a fantastic job and kept everything in balance. I guess that's why it's called balancer, right? Yeah, and some of you said then, well, just wait until the battery is fully charged and all the cells will be all over the place. There will be no unity. And I thought, well, this is not how a balancer works. A balancer should always balance, not only at the bottom, in the middle, at the top. It should always do this job, right? Oh, let's have a quick look how the situation is at the moment. We are on 9 millivolt deviation. Interestingly, the BMS, which I haven't touched for quite a while, claims we have 240 ampere hours charged into the batteries now, out of 280, which I set in the BMS. So the BMS thinks there are 40 ampere hours missing, which could be actually true. While the smart shunt says there are only 19.2 ampere hours missing until we reach 100%. But I said I changed the settings of the smart shunt and it reset to 0%. And I said, well, what was it like before? And I couldn't figure it out, so I did a rough guess from what I could remember. But I think it's a bit off now. Could be 5-10% off, I don't know. We have to wait and see what's happening today, if we can fully charge the battery and what the BMS and what the balancer does. Does it actually balance at a high state of charge? Will it keep our battery in balance? Because we always had cells in a runaway state at high state of charge with my battery here. Long story, I tempered around with the cells after the battery was in place and charged and discharged single cells. I got it all under control again. But there might be still some effects, some aftermath, and the cells are out of balance. So we will see what's happening. We will find out, hopefully, soon. 1.4 kilowatts. And here we can see 950 from the west roof and 550 from east. I wonder how it looks like on the roof. Oh, I haven't been up there for ages. Welcome back on the Off-Grid Garage. Okay, so we've got these two strings in full sun and the third one is still shaded a bit. But how quickly this goes. Just 3-4 weeks ago, everything was shaded even at noon time when the sun is the highest. Okay, let's check it out over here. Okay, we've got still shading up there on string number 1, shading up here, and this one is in full shade. Oh yeah. Ah, it's the clouds. Good cloudy weather. These were 220. Were they 220 watts? I can't remember actually. Yeah, I think they are 220 watts. And this one is 215 on the other side. Yeah, so 220. This is like 1200 watt peak. And we're getting 900 now with this angle and a bit of cloud. Not too bad. So this will take another 3-4 weeks or so, and then we will have more and more and more and more and more sunshine here on the roof. It's just winter time. I usually charge my cells only to 3.45 volts maximum voltage. I recently changed these settings to even down to 3.4 volts per cell, because I think 3.4 volt is enough to fully charge your battery to 100% without putting any stress on the batteries. The voltage is not too high, which is causing degradation, but you still get the full capacity out of the cells. The charging process just takes a bit longer, right? We have done these tests in the past, charging the batteries to 3.5 and then 3.4. Let them absorb and compared these two together. If I don't forget, I'll link this video down below, but if not, search on my channel for 3.4, 3.5 volts, and you will find the video. Very interesting result. So only if you need to charge faster, you need a higher voltage. If you've got time to charge, you set your voltage lower in your battery pack and put less stress on it, less degradation, and the batteries will still charge to almost 100%. But now for this test today, I have set the battery voltage to 3.5 volts per cell, because I want to see what the balancer actually does at this high state of charge. Yeah, and we are at 54.8 now, and 56 volts is my charging cutoff voltage of the MPPT solar charge controllers. So there's still 1 volts. But we are already over 3.4. Well, this is the charging voltage, right? This doesn't mean we are at 3.4 volts in the cells. This is just what the charge controllers pressure into the cells at the moment. So charging voltage is always higher than the actual voltage of the cell. And I quickly want to show you this again here on the graph. This is the charging curve, one of the first ones we did on the 100 ampere hour lithium iron phosphate battery. And if we go to a 3.4 volts, well, we are at 3.4 to 8 now. So okay, let's zoom in a little bit here on this part of the curve. Okay, if we look for 3.42, we are at 108.35 ampere hours. And the maximum we could charge this battery to was 109.6. There's only 1.3 ampere hours missing now. We are at 100. We are precisely at 98.9% state of charge already. So almost 99% at this point of time now. So we should see an increase in voltage now in our real battery very soon. It goes very quickly up, and at 3.5 I set the charge controllers to go into absorption mode. This is over here. This is 109.37. Yeah, this is 0.3 of an ampere hour missing from there to 3.65 volts. But again, higher voltage, more stress. Okay, so we are now seeing the deviation is rising to 20 millivolts. And the BMS will show the highest cell as red and the lowest voltage cell in gray at 20 millivolts. That's why it now comes and goes. There it is. So cell number 6, as always, our highest. If you remember, 6, 7 and 8 were always the highest cells and the lowest cells. So these are the weakest ones I have in my pack here. And this is now the interesting part where the balancer actually should kick in and start balancing and takes energy away from these cells into the other ones to balance out and keep the voltage the same. So let's see if we can see anything. So cell number 6 is over there, and this is the green wire going to the balancer here. Let's see if we can see any current coming out of this cell. No, only 60 milliamps. Far away from the 5 amps the balancer can do, right? But this is just normal with these active balancers, because the higher the voltage difference is, the higher the current is, to equalize them again, to balance them again. And I think 20 millivolt is just at the kick-in voltage for the balancer to start up. The battery is still taking 25 amps, 27. Yeah, sunny today with 27 amps outside. Nah, the battery voltage is not rising anymore. It stays here at 54.8 volt. And cell number 6 is now the highest one all the time. 25 millivolt we have, but it's not going over 3.44. So obviously there is some balancing happening, and we should see some currents going out of the battery now. Still 80 milliamps only. Obviously this is enough to keep the battery balanced, so this cell doesn't break out from all the other ones. And look at this, cell number 3 is now our weakest here. 1, 2, 3, 4. First delivery I got with these batteries here back last year, and these 4 cells were always the really strong ones. They were the highest capacity, the highest voltage ones all the time, whatever test we did. And now, the birds are back. The sun is coming back and the birds. Look at this bastard. Ah, the cat is there somewhere. They were screaming at the cat. There he is. Hey, Simba. He's chasing the birds. Okay, let's see how much we get now. Still 80 milliamps, 90. Well, very soon we will get another BMS, now another balancer. Well, a BMS as well, but another balancer where we can connect the mobile phone via Bluetooth, and then we can actually see what's going on in between these cells then a bit better than with these balancers, because they don't have Bluetooth. This is a passive observation situation you have now. You just need to trust the electronics to work, and you don't have much influence on anything. You cannot set any parameters. This is all fixed. But the other one, which is on the way, will have Bluetooth as well, so we can actually see what is going on during balancing, and can also set different parameters. So that will be interesting. Okay, we are still at 54.8 volts. 32 now we have deviation, and number 6 is 3.45. I have turned off the balancing function of the BMS now. It is still sunny with 30 amps outside. Nice. And look at our cell number 6, 3.47. That's 62 millivolt deviation now between 6 and 3. So let's see if we can measure an increased balance current now. Oh yeah, we can. 160. It has doubled from what we had before. So the cell actually gets now balanced by the balancer. So energy being taken out and put into other cells next to it. So that works. And number 3, that is this one. That's the yellow one. Let's see if there's any energy being pushed in. No, only 50 millivolts. Milliamps. Jeez. Current is in amps. Just so you know. Oh, it has pushed it down to 3.488. Look at this. So it's actually working. That's 12 millivolt lower than before. Now again, 3.5. And we can see the charge, the balancing current is increasing here. 250 I've seen. 240, 50, there it is again. So it's definitely increasing the balancing current now to drop the voltage in cell number 6. So we've got an overall deviation now of 116 millivolts, which is still high at 55 volts overall battery voltage. Still, the balancer seems to prevent the battery from getting too high, single cells, and the BMS from turning off then. Because this was exactly happening before, when we had only the BMS connected to the battery with its low 150, 200 milliamps of balancing current max. And it was not able to keep the cells under control at this point of charge now. We are still charging with 20 amps here into the battery. So fairly high charge current. And the BMS, the QUCC BMS, was not able to control the battery anymore at such a situation now. Here, another cool thing, number 5 is the lowest one now. And number 5 gets an additional 1.2 amps now from all the other cells. Oh, we just crossed the magic number of 3.6 volts, cell number 6. And it gets discharged with 600 milliamps. But is it enough to prevent the BMS from turning off at 3.65. Still charging with 19 amps into the whole battery bank, but we've got now 200 millivolt deviation, 55.4, so the voltage is rising quickly now here. Oh, that goes quickly, 3.625. That is not good, and only 0.7 amps. I don't like this. 3.65 will be the BMS kicking in, turning off our charging, which is very, very soon. If the balancer is not kicking in. And look at number 8 as well. So close. Let's measure number 8 again. 1.6 amps. But we are still charging with 18 amps. Look at this. Balancer cannot keep up. It's not enough. Any moment we will hear the click and I will shit my pants then, because that is 3.65. That is BMS kicking in. Still charging. Let's see when the relay turns off. Oh, oh God. I shit myself again. All right, it turned off for a moment and now I think it's back on. We are charging still 18 amps. Yeah, everything is still turned on here. Even I knew it was coming every second. This relay is so loud here. 800 milliamps out of number 6. Well, it has turned off only for a moment. What's the oh, there it is again. Yeah, there it is. And then it closes again right away. 0 amps. What are the charge controllers doing? They are still on bulk mode. See, it's only for a few seconds. Balancing with 800, number 6, which is not enough. It's rising again. Okay, let's go into Victron Connect and see what the solar charge controller does with such a peak. East roof. So 800 watts coming in. Let's watch the numbers when the relay turns off. Especially this voltage here for the battery, because the battery won't be there anymore. Wait for it. There, off. Voltage goes down. See that? And then voltage comes back. And then it restarts again. So it doesn't harm the solar charge controller at all if you turn off the battery. At least not with the Victron ones here. I have seen this before when we had the BMS disconnecting the battery then, and the solar charge controllers were still there. They usually switch into absorption mode then and supply power to the inverter still, as much as they can to keep it alive. I hope the computer still runs. Otherwise the test needs to be repeated. It's a 6-hour test in the make on the computer. And it will be... Oh, so now it's turned off. But see, the inverter is still running from the solar charge controllers now. It still gets power. Oh no, I think the computer is off. Oh fuck. Yeah, the computer is off. Rising again. I mean, it's good to test these security functions here. BMS turns off if one of the cells goes too high, but the balancer is not able to keep up. Even it balances with 1 amp. It is not able. There we go again. What a shit show. What is East Roof doing? 50 watts. This is only standby for the inverter at the moment, so 0.5. And it keeps the voltage at 56 volts, which is the absorption voltage we have set. And this goes into the inverter and keeps the inverter alive, and this is just standby for the inverter at the moment. So it doesn't go up to the voltage like the solar panels have. It stays to the absorption voltage now, even there's no battery connected. The relay is disconnected at the moment. There's no battery at all. Okay, I probably changed the solar charge controllers back to 3.4 volts from 3.5 to 3.4, and then we keep testing as long as the sun is shining and see if we have any better results, because we are staying under the steeper area of the curve then, of the charging curve. We are staying far below that. But yeah, this is a bit disappointing. I was really happy until just now with the balancer, but this does not seem to... Let's see if it kicks in again at 3.45. That's the first thing to observe. There it goes. Yeah, 3.45. It waits until the highest cell has 3.45 and then the charging switch clicks in again. And now we can see the charging current is ramping up again. And so will our voltage here on cell number 6. And then it repeats until all the other cells have catched up. And as long as we charge, we will still see an increase here in voltage of cell number 6, of course. And once this hits 3.65 again, we will have the same cycle again. BMS will turn off. The interesting part is it will turn off until the battery cell goes down to 3.45, as we have said. But if you put some load on the inverter, it kicks in straight away and tries to recharge the battery and keep it running. But if there's no load on the battery, and I think this is what this black sensor is for here. This is actually on the output of the relay. This goes to our battery. This goes to our load here, and it senses when there is load, when there is demand coming this way, and then it turns on the relay again through the electronics. Another finding and another lesson learned from this adventure here today is you always want a BMS to protect your battery. This is a frequently asked questions in the comments down below. Is a balancer enough, or do you still need a BMS? I would always 110% recommend to use a BMS as well, even if you don't use the balancing function of the BMS. But as we have seen here, the balancer is not enough. It is not enough to prevent single cells from running off over 3.65 volts, and then you're overcharging these cells. This one is not enough. It's a good extension for a BMS, but you always want the BMS to turn off your battery from the charging situation if you have cells with higher voltage. Alright guys, so far this video from today, longish video again, but there's so much to observe when these situations occur with the battery fully charged, and then you've got the BMS kicking in and the balancer, and you're measuring and changing parameters and have to wait again. And I would really like to share all this information with you, because some of you are in similar situations with their BMS and their battery and their balancers and don't know exactly what happened. So just sharing here my findings and what I think is happening. But yeah, I find this very, very interesting and fascinating to watch the battery going into the extremes, either very high or very low, and then see what the electronics do if they actually protect your battery. Man, for peace of mind, you know, you are at work, you are shopping or something, and the battery is fully charged or fully discharged. You should be safe in whatever happens, that you know that the BMS is turning off and your charge controllers are fine and the inverter is fine. I think it is really important to test these extremes out as well, even they usually don't occur. But if they occur, what is happening? Is the battery running away? Is there a problem occurring somewhere, or is everything safe? Well guys, share your stories down below in the comment section. I'm always keen to read your experience with these sort of things. And as always, stay charged and stay safe. And we shall see us again in one of the next videos coming out here from the Off-Grid Garage in Australia soon. I have to repeat the battery test now again because the computer turned off while we disconnected the battery from the inverter. So that's just what it is. It's a real world scenario here. Okay guys, thanks for all your support here and all your donations, and see you then. Bye bye.